I have updated the explosive shot shock burst rounds Witch Hunter with the max roll build guide. As you can see right here and also linked down in the description and also the pinned comment below, I have used all of the knowledge and all of the experience made throughout the build's progression and blasted it into the written max roll guide. Here you can see a lot of things that you want to see. You have skills, all of the explanations, more info on passives, the ascendancy order, gearing tips where you can learn how to offensively and also defensively scale your Witch Hunter build. And then you can also see stat priorities for each single gear slot. For example, the belt, the gloves, the armor, whatever you like to know. And then also have the Atlas passive. There's also a frequently asked questioned section. That's not it. I've also updated the planner. As you can see right here, if you want to get to the written build guide, if you want to read up on something, you can always click down here in the notes section, and that is going to get you directly to the build guide. For the planner, I have updated the skills. For example, we've gotten rid of Voltaic Grenade, and I've also went ahead and updated a couple of these supports. I suggest you check out the planner to get exactly what I changed, and then go and update your build accordingly in-game. I'm not going to waste your time going through all of these. There is a couple of changes. Again, Voltaic Grenade is not in there anymore. A couple of changes to the explosive shot and the shockburst rounds. Very important here, the support gems are ordered in descending priority. So the thing that is at the very left is the most important, and then it loses out on priority as you go to the right side. So if you only have a 3-link, for example, you are going to use the scatter shot and the conduction on the explosive shot, for example. Then if you were to gain another link, you would now add the martial tempo, and that works for all of the skills, even for the auras, for example. All the skills, currently it looks like this. I do have Sorcery Ward on 22 because I get +1 to levels through the Fire and the Lightning Mastery. Then Shockburst rounds, Explosive Shot as high as you can get. The Voltaic Mark and Emergency Reload don't really matter that much. Then for the Overwhelming Presence, you really want to get it as high as possible. For the Herald of Ash, the same concept applies. And then for the Herald of Thunder, I currently have it on level 19, which you would really like to increase, but you need higher dexterity. And then for the Herald of Ice, you also really want to do the same thing. The only problem here is that the int is basically your bottleneck. For the Wind Dancer, really important to get it to level 17, because then you actually get 19% more evasion rating per stage, which is going to give you 4% more in total. Compared to if it was level 16, for example. You actually get 4 stages instead of 3 stages for the quality on the Wind Dancer, so it is extremely important to quality this one up to quality 20. Same actually applies to the Herald of Thunder and Herald of Ice. Those actually get quite nice when you add the quality here. I would definitely go for the Herald of Thunder first, because you can see right here that the buff actually gives you more attack hits, which is going to help you out pretty much. Then the Overwhelming Presence is also really helpful. It further decreases the ailment and stun threshold of the enemies. And then of course you also want to quality up the Shockburst rounds. Currently it does not work. As you can see right here, we are loading 19 bolts per clip, and I do have 19 loaded, although my quality is at 20 right here, and that is supposed to give us +7 bolts, which would put us at 26. Which also makes fresh clip a pretty good thing that we can use. Currently bugged. I have reported this already on the forums. I hope it gets fixed, but regardless, this is something that you need for the future. Currently, it's not really that important. I would definitely focus on Herald of Thunder, Herald of Ice, and Wind Dancer first, and then maybe think about Overwhelming Presence if you still have problems with shocking the enemies. A very cool feature that has been added into the Max Roll Planner is the stat priority. Here, if you click on the build guide, which is the items that I recommend you to get for the build itself. Again, the resistances here are missing, so make sure you are capping those out by yourself. And then when you click on the stat priorities, you can actually see all of the stat priorities listed from top to bottom, also in descending priority for all of the armor slots. Obviously, the helmet is missing because you need the unique, and the stats here don't really change. So this is something that you can have open or open up for a quick look. There is literally all of the items that you need to pay attention to, and then you can better judge which item you should be going for next to improve your character. And on top of that, I've also added my current character literally from the game into the planner, so you can have a look of what I am currently doing on the Witch Hunter. Here you can see all of the items that I have currently equipped. Every time I change an item, I'm also going to be updating this current character equipment set for you guys to keep an eye out. The only highlight here right now is that I'm also going into increased rarity of items found and trying to get that on as many pieces as possible. On top of the rarity, I also added a belt with +2 charm slots, which allows me to use a stone charm and also a thawing charm, and then also use a golden charm which gives me increased rarity of items found. As for the next steps for the build, I'm currently looking at trying to make it work to go towards energy shield. As we all know, that is currently the name of the game when it comes to defenses. Currently, you really don't need any energy shield to go mapping. The build is super fine. In T16 plus maps, you basically don't die unless you stand in tons of area of effects on the ground or on death explosions, stuff like that. You gotta watch out there. But apart from that, you're actually super fine because obviously you are playing into the strengths of being a ranged character that literally nukes the entire screen. On bosses, it's actually super fine as well. We do have a comfy health pool that is not super high, but not super low either. So you can actually tank 1 or 2 hits that are being done throughout mapping if you don't evade them or on bosses. I currently do the T16 +4 bosses very easily when they're irradiated, and also the additional stats that you get from the bossing tree. So absolutely no problem. You just need to keep an eye out on keeping your shock active. Furthermore, I'm also looking to do a double crossbow setup because we're actually moving extremely quickly over the map. So we don't need a blink setup, or we don't need a leap slam, for example. And this allows us to play 2 crossbows. Why would you play 2 crossbows? Because you can actually use 1 crossbow for your explosive shot, therefore using the weapon skill attributes basically for increasing the area of effect and increasing your fire damage, going a little bit into penetration, stuff like that. And then you can also increase your single target damage for the other weapon with going more towards lightning damage, increasing more of your single target for the shock burst rounds, and actually getting rid of the stuff that you would usually use to buff your explosive shot. Therefore, you can actually buff up both of these spells a little bit more compared to using just 1 crossbow that fits all of them. Additionally, you can also do loads and additional bolt, for example, on your explosive shot setup. And also, last but not least, I'm also going to look more into how to min-max the build with time-lost jewels. So for example, we can do some very cool things by placing the time-lost jewels correctly in one or the other cluster, further buffing up the character and the build. And I'm definitely going to look into this to see how we can actually squeeze out more survivability, more damage with all of these changes. If you have any question to the build or to Path of Exile 2 in general, I'm live right now, so come hang out with us, ask any questions, or see what I'm up to. The link is going to be down in the description below. And if you like content similar to this, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time.